She smiled across the table with the ease of someone who believed she'd won. That kind of polished, radiant confidence you'd expect from a woman convinced she owned the room, the narrative, and perhaps even fate itself, draped in a necklace bought with money she never earned and the lies she wore like perfume. She had no idea the clock was ticking. In exactly 7 minutes, her husband would walk through the front door, 24 roses in hand, expecting to celebrate what he believed to be their anniversary. He had no idea that the woman he adored, his wife, was sitting across from me, smiling as if betrayal were a delicacy. That smile? It would vanish so fast you'd hear it shatter like glass on marble. This isn't a tale of garden-variety infidelity. It's a chronicle of calculation of cold, deliberate timing and consequences served with surgical precision. But before we descend deeper into the unraveling, let us know where you're watching from. Leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe, because what happened after the wine was poured is something you won't want to miss. How does a woman capable of tracing millions through shadowed ledgers and offshore havens miss the most vital transaction of all, her husband's loyalty? Rachel Montgomery wasn't merely the mistress. She was the illusion refined, articulate, the ideal friend, the consummate professional, the model wife. Until the mask cracked and the fallout began. And James Ashford, my husband of 11 years, the man who once whispered that late-night surgeries were the cost of saving lives, he wasn't saving anything. He was dismantling our marriage, one silent incision at a time, removing honesty, grafting lies, suturing infidelity so seamlessly I missed the scars. But that night, that dinner, there were no more hiding places. 2 couples, 4 seats, 1 truth. How did everything come undone in a single evening? In Millbrook Heights, we were known as the Golden Couples. Doctors, professionals admired, envied, polished. We hosted charity galas, attended art openings, and were never short on invitations. James, charming, gracious, beloved, was a rising star in orthopedic surgery. A man who remembered birthdays, tipped generously, and smiled like he had nothing to hide. And I, Victoria Ashford, senior forensic accountant at Petton Associates, built my life on order and evidence. I trace fraud like other women trace patterns. Shell companies, off-the-book transfers, corporate siphoning. I saw through it all. Or so I thought. But I forgot the one rule I preach to every client. Always audit what you trust most. Rachel entered our lives slowly, subtly, like steam beneath a locked door. She was elegance made flesh, a physical therapist with a thriving practice, married to Michael Montgomery, a reserved, brilliant cardiologist. They were the perfect dinner guests, the couple that brought the best wine and better conversation. Rachel became my confidant, Pilates partner, wine enthusiast. She remembered birthdays, complimented my shoes, texted to check in. There were no stumbles, no red flags, no cracks in the mirror, and still somehow everything was orchestrated. Their affair wasn't a lapse in judgment. It was a system, crafted, camouflaged, curated. And I, a woman who exposes deception for a living, was sleeping beside it. When instinct finally broke through the fog of denial, I began like I always do, with quiet, deliberate inquiry. I didn't cry. I didn't accuse. I opened a blank file, named it something forgettable, and started compiling data not as a wife, but as a forensic investigator, preparing for court. James said he was in Albany. The symposium ended a day earlier than he claimed. Charges at a boutique hotel in Saratoga Springs. Dinner for 2, flowers, champagne, a couple's massage. I combed through 6 months of transactions, cross-referencing call logs, travel dates, and medical schedules. The result? A symphony of deceit. Every emergency surgery shadowed by a weekend escape. Every hospital excuse matched with receipts for a life I wasn't part of. Still, I needed more. The kind of proof that silences gaslighting. Enter Elena, cybersecurity expert, discreet, deadly efficient. Within 48 hours, I had hundreds of recovered messages, love notes, rendezvous confirmations, photos, private jokes. Rachel, in lingerie, whispering to James in pixelated intimacy. It was all there. 14 months of betrayal paid for by our joint accounts, hidden in plain sight. But I wasn't collecting evidence for confrontation. I was staging a finale. The invitations were handwritten, embossed in cursive Rachel's favorite. An intimate evening at the Ashford residence. Private chef. Old friends. No speeches, just a quiet celebration. James believed we were hosting my colleagues. He smiled. I smiled back. But Michael Montgomery received a different version. Come early. Victoria wants to surprise Rachel with a toast for your anniversary. His reply? That's thoughtful. She loved that. My response? She deserves it. The night arrived like any other. The air scented with white orchids. The playlist low jazz, curated for mood control. I knew exactly how I wanted this to unfold. Rachel wore the necklace James bought with our money. She clinked her glass and toasted to friendship. James brushed her knee under the table. The first course arrived at 7:18 p.m. At 7:31, duck confit. At 7:46, the doorbell rang. 3 knocks. James paused. Rachel turned toward the hallway, still smiling. Still confident. I said gently, "Oh, that must be your husband, Rachel." I invited him for a surprise. Michael entered with white lily, Rachel's favorite. His eyes were warm, trusting, unaware. Rachel's smile died in real time. 3 seconds passed. Then I stood. Michael, just in time. We were talking about anniversaries. I set the first folder on the table. This is what your wife has been doing while you were saving lives at St. Joseph's. A second folder. This is what my husband has been funding with our savings. I opened them. Photos, receipts, texts, kisses in parking lots. Hotel room selfies. Whispered promises. Just a few more months. Then we're free. Michael stared at the lily. They didn't belong anymore. James opened his mouth. I cut him off. You don't get to control the story anymore. Rachel paled. Her hands trembled. One guest gasped. Another reached quietly for her phone. The moment went viral before the creme brulee was served. By sunrise, clips were circulating in private, medical WhatsApp groups and Facebook physician circles. A Reddit thread titled, 2 doctors, 1 affair, 1 unforgettable dinner in Millbrook. James was suspended within days, terminated within weeks. His medical license revoked pending review. Every clinic he applied to closed its doors. Reputation always outpaces apology. Rachel wasn't spared either. Michael handed every document to the licensing board. The audit revealed years of fraudulent billing. She was arrested, convicted, 18 months in federal prison. Her clinic shuttered. Her name erased. The house? I sold it within 60 days. The lies echoed too loudly in the walls. I bought a penthouse, clean, minimalist, no shadows. I launched my own firm, Ashford Forensic Consulting. No advertising. Only whispers. Women refer other women when the numbers don't feel right. And sometimes on Sundays Michael visits. We cook slowly. We speak honestly. It's not romantic. Not yet, but it's real. And after 11 years of curated deceit, that feels radical. They say I lost everything that night. A marriage, a reputation, a home. But they're wrong. I lost only what was never mine to keep. And in return, I found something far more valuable: clarity.